Spectrasonic's Omnisphere is a wonderful accompaniment to the ROLI Seaboard because it's a multi-timbral sampler synthesizer hybrid, and it can be set up to receive the multi-channel data that the ROLI Seaboard sends. To do this, I would suggest starting by creating a really expressive patch and then duplicating that part numerous times to make it multi-channel. And so we'll start this process in the ROLI dashboard by setting it to single channel mode and having it send on channel 1. We'll also set the pitch bend range to 24 semitones, which will have to do the same thing in Spectrasonic's Omnisphere. Let's go over to Omnisphere and see how to make an expressive patch there. I found this patch I really like the sound of. It's called Boomerang Cavaquinho. Let's hear what it sounds like. I particularly like this. Right? But I'd like to be able to play low drones along with that. And to have this pitch bend, but that not, we'll need to have that polyphonic expression. But first, let's make this really an expressive patch. The first step in that is going to be setting up our pitch bend range to match what we set in the ROLI dashboard. And that's right here on the main page. In part 1, we can set our down pitch bend range to be 24 semitones and our up pitch bend range also to be 24 semitones. Now, if I want to start going patch to patch in Omnisphere, it'd be nice if that stayed the same, because that setting will change from patch to patch. But there's a great function in Omnisphere where I can lock specific parameters so that as I change presets, that parameter won't change. We'll find that in this lock menu, and we can choose pitch bend range. And this way, if I change presets, the pitch bend range will stay at what I set in the ROLI dashboard. Now I want to get a little bit of slide functioning in this patch. And if we look at this patch, we have 2 layers of sound. And this is kind of the overall layout of Omnisphere. Layer 1 is the cavaquinho, that kind of guitar-like sound. And layer B is all those kind of complex delays. In fact, I can turn down the amplitude of layer B, and we'll hear just the dry guitar. It doesn't have that reverb on it, and those kind of cool delays. If I turn layer B back up, and bring down layer A, we'll hear just those delays, which might be a cool sound as well. I like the mixture though. I think that works really well, and you might want to use those 2 faders to kind of adjust the mix to your liking. And this is the same on many of the patches in Omnisphere. Now, to use slide, we'll have to assign a user CC, and we can do that over in the System tab. At the bottom, you'll see user CC, and we can define 1 controller to be used throughout all our patches. The great thing is if we do this once, it'll maintain as you change presets and as you close and open Omnisphere. So we set this once, and we don't have to do it again. The trick to this is it's a MIDI learn function. And with MIDI learn functions, it'll actually say move MIDI controller. And when you're using a MIDI learn, it's best to reduce the MIDI data that's being sent so the receiving synthesizer will know exactly what to associate with the MIDI controller. So I'll take the glide and press touch faders and reduce them all the way down to 0. So we're only sending CC74, the slide dimension. I'll now choose Move MIDI Controller inside of Omnisphere, and I'll slide my hand up one of the key waves. And we see that MIDI CC74 is now in our user CC slot there. And now we can use that as a modulation source anywhere within Omnisphere. I'll use that to control a filter on those delays. The cavaquinho will stay the same, but we'll have a really interesting filter motion on all those delays. So I'll go to part B and I'll add a filter. I'll try low pass power juice 48 dB, and I'll give it quite a bit of resonance to make this obvious. Now if I was to play a note and then just move that manually, we can hear what it does. That's pretty hip, right? We can get this kind of sampler synthesizer hybrid, perfect for the movie I'm scoring. So I'll bring that back down. I'll right click on cutoff frequency, and this is how we're going to assign a modulation here in Omnisphere. I can go down to modulate. I can choose modulate with controller, and we can modulate with user CC. This will open up a tab on the side of the interface here. We can see the modulation range right here. We also see that the routing, user CC is the source, and the target or the destination is cutoff frequency. Now if I try this, I can play a note, and we get those really cool high resonant sweeps on all those delays. So far the patch is coming out really nice, and all that's left is to make it polyphonic. Now this is quite easy inside of Omnisphere because there's a function in the utility pulldown for clone part 1. And that'll take whatever we have set up on part 1 and copy it to all the different parts, and then we just have to change our polyphony in the ROLI dashboard. Let's try it. Once that's done, you'll get a green bar to say it's complete, and we can go over to the ROLI dashboard and change our polyphony there to match. Now there was 8 parts in Omnisphere, so we might as well go to multi-mode, keep MPE off, and have our range from 1 to 8. I'll play a low drone. Now, because I have my glide touch fader all the way at 0, we're not pitch bending at all. But I kind of like that with this patch. And this is kind of an interesting thing about this touch fader is if you're on a note and you bend, it won't let you bend at all. But if you go down to the ribbons, either the top or the bottom, it's like you're going across a harp, which is kind of nice for this sound. But I want to bring that up a little bit more so I can play this low drone. I love all that kind of out-of-tune nature in this patch. The techniques we've done here work with any Omnisphere patch. I think it's a great option for the ROLI Seaboard.